Our next panelist claims that there is perennial source of water which would never dry off. Is it? It's the wastewater. According to him, treated and purified wastewater can meet 60% of the requirements of fresh water. As an alumni of IIT Madras and Vanderbilt University, he has mastered the art of wastewater recycling and started ecotech engineering for wastewater management in the year 1986. He has already installed a few hundred of such plants and maintains them too. He hopes to secure our future from water scarcity by wastewater treatment. Ladies and gents, can we please welcome Mr. Anand Kolavasal on the stage. Our moderator for the panel is an alumni of University of Pittsburgh and a seasoned investment professional with 18 plus years of investment banking and asset management experience across sectors. She recently co-founded a $40 to $60 million India-focused growth stage impact equity fund, UC Empower, as a partner under Unitas Capital umbrella. The fund's thesis is to invest in entrepreneurs building companies that focus on access, affordability, and inclusivity of the undeserved communities and environmental sustainability in India. She has also been recognized as a 40 under 40 alternative investment professional in India and also mentored several startups and is a guest lecturer on climate and financial inclusion. Ladies and gents, can you put together our hands for Ms. Richa Natarajan?
So we thought free lunch is bad, during lunch is even worse, I think. But hopefully people will slowly trickle in. Yeah, please come in front. I mean, it's not that many people, but if you can come in front, it might be nicer.
At least the speakers will love to talk to you.
Fantastic. So, as we begin this panel, it's really about water, and I think Saurav very nicely illustrated how Bangalore itself as a city is going through this crisis, and me being from here, we experience it on a day-to-day basis, as Anand sir will say as well. But I'll just start with three thoughts of why I think this is important. Water scarcity is going to be a global economic threat, and certainly for India, and perhaps China and other countries as well. India has only 4% of freshwater resources available, and we know what our population looks like. And 85% of that fresh water gets used up in agriculture. So is there a lot left for folks to drink? Perhaps not. 3/4 of rural India today lacks access to drinking water. So piped drinking water doesn't exist in 3/4 of India, and we know what the problems that results in. We know that there's over 250 districts that have overexploited groundwater, and so there isn't that kind of water tables that were there when many of you were kids. Certainly when I was a child, but I think certainly when all of you were as well. And there's arsenic and fluoride found in most districts in the country today. So which means the water we're consuming is extremely dangerous for us and certainly not healthy, so we need solutions to do that. And RO hasn't been the solution for it. So I'm really excited to have these two panelists here, both of whom have done some incredible work on different sides of the equation of water. And I'll start with Anand sir right here. You've done so much work around STP and ETPs, and we talked about it before this panel as well, that as Saurav said, 60% of water can actually be regenerated. And if you have an HVAC system, it's actually 80%. Now, those are phenomenal numbers. And then if you can convert that water into potable drinking water, that's even more sort of, mind-boggling and groundbreaking if you can. So what's the kind of technology that you have used to get to that solution? But also, as you start that, maybe a little bit of the backstory of why, what got you interested in this? You were doing lots of other interesting things before this.
No, I think my interest in the environment started when I was in IIT Madras. My project work was on air pollution modeling. And then after I completed my CHE and went to Vanderbilt, there was an excellent course in wastewater management headed by Professor Eckenfelder, who was considered the guru of wastewater treatment. So I shifted my focus onto wastewater. This was in the year 1974 onwards, where when a which time there was not even an act, Water Pollution Control Act in India. The act came in the year 1974 when the government said people have to treat the wastewater to certain quality, and then before they discharge either onto land or into a sewer or into the ocean. So I don't know, it was just luck, I think, maybe just a passion for something which was new at that time. I shifted to wastewater treatment, and then we did advanced wastewater treatment that time. And when those days, most of my batchmates from IIT went to the US, stayed back there. But my professor said, you go back to your country. Your country will need this kind of skill much more than the US. And that's when I came back. So I started my career in this wastewater business in 1979. That's when I came back from the US. And since then I've been focusing on this particular area. Initially it was all industrial wastewater treatment. There were not too many of these STPs around. STP is the sewage treatment plant, ETP is the effluent treatment plants. Many effluent treatment plants are textile, sugar, brewery, distillery and so forth, or pulp and paper. And these are wastewaters which are much more difficult to treat than simple domestic sewage. And all these projects were excellent. We did a very good job. I started my career in a company called Dor Oliver, which was one of the pioneers in this field of wastewater treatments, an American company. And then we used to do large municipal scale projects as well. So I have a lot of hands-on experience in not only designing these treatment plants, but also executing, commissioning. Hands-on experience is what makes one an expert in various aspects of wastewater treatment. And that kind of a skill, that kind of a practical knowledge, I find people don't get these days from the colleges when they come out, even with a BTech or an MTech. They simply do not understand what it really takes to design a treatment plant, to operate a treatment plant, to maintain a treatment plant. So that is been my focus, and it's been a passion with me. And we are fighting all the time because we are trying to sell something, a sewage treatment plant, which nobody wants. So that is the biggest challenge.
You know, it's interesting you said that you want to sell a product that nobody wants, and we all know that's extremely hard to do. You're always trying to build for the customer. So what is that one selling point that convinces a customer that what you're doing is good for them? And what are the benefits that you talk about to really make that switch and that change? And how has that evolved over the years?
No. See, I shifted my focus to these decentralized urban STPs, as I call them, which came about starting in the year 2006, when the government mandated that residential complexes, commercial complexes, malls, hotels, hospitals must have put up their own STPs. That was not the case earlier. Earlier only the industrial factories had to have a treatment plant. I shifted my focus at that time, and unfortunately the customers then were the builders. The builders and developers who set up these treatment plants. And initially the mindset was just set up a treatment plant just for the sake of it, get the NOC, get the approvals and go on, hand it over to the residents, and that's it. That was the mindset. Nobody even thought of STP as a piece of infrastructure which is going to be the most critical piece in the entire development. Today, if you see, STP in a large residential complex is the only infrastructure which pays back, which gives you back money. And if you are in a large residential complex, let us say 500, 600, 1000 flats, and if you have a good STP, it is like a gold mine. As I said, you can recover 60% of the STP treated water, and that much amount is the saving in freshwater purchase cost. So it is actually a gold mine. And as you said, in a commercial complex like a mall, Phoenix Mall here, it's a 500 KLD STP which never worked because they used the wrong technology. Somebody did the STP. But about 7 years ago, we set it right, and we have been running it. and every day the STP gives back about 50,000 rupees to the mall. That is the kind of saving in freshwater purchase cost. But more than the economics of a good STP now, we are highlighting the water security aspect of a good STP. Yeah, you may be saving money, but then 2 years, 5 years from now, even if you are willing to pay 500 rupees per kiloliter, water may just not be available, fresh water. And this is where the water security comes in. And I'm glad the Prime Minister of our country has actually understood this, and not many of the builders have still not caught on. They still go the old way, try to compromise, and they're all middlemen. The ultimate users are the people who are buying the flats, and they are going to live with the STP for the next 30, 35 years, 40 years. So we work for their benefit, not for the benefit of the builder, who is just an intermediary, who just takes money from the flat owners and gives it to us. So I look at them only as the intermediaries. So we do not work for their benefit, we work for the welfare of the ultimate user.
That's fantastic. Maybe I'll just move to Ramkrishna sir. You know, when he first told me what he was doing, which was several months ago, it sounded a lot like science fiction. Can you really get water from air? And it's not just a pet project, it's not at lab scale, it's not 1 or 2 pilots that have been done, but he's now in 31 countries, he was telling me, done several installations, hundreds of installations, and has a technology that is actually functioning, and to Sir's point here, is one which works with price parity. So why don't you tell us a little bit of your backstory, and then we can go more into Meghdoot and what you've built there.
Since my childhood, I have seen my mother we were in Marathwada, my father was in Marathwada region and other posting. So I have seen my mother getting up at 2 o'clock in the night, only worrying about how to get few buckets of water for the rest of the day. And that I have seen it close quarters. I have seen my mother getting up, my father getting up in the middle of the night and worrying about the water because there was no water. And there was one common well which was there for the entire, that particular colony or locality. And they used to go, and we were not sure when it will come. And I think what I have seen almost 45 years back, 47 years back, is still there in Marathwada today. In many places, there's no water. So, on the other hand, there is 13 billion meter cube of water in the air at any given point of time, which is more than all the rivers put together in the world. And it gets replenished 41 times in a year. See the dichotomy. We have 13 billion meter cube of water in the air. On the other hand, there are places where people don't have water to drink. People are dying. Flora, fauna is dying. So that's, and I stay in Hyderabad, very close to Hyderabad, there is a place called Nalgonda. Thousands of people have died till date, or they are suffering from fluoride, the fluoride problem, and there is no solution. Unfortunately, the best of the technology in the world still not able to find solution for arsenic and fluoride and uranium poison. So this is what inspired me. I was working and all that. So way back in 2016, I incorporated a company called Maitri Aquatech. 2018, we sold our first machine, and I'm happy that that machine is working very well even today. From there on, we have almost close to 16 to 1700 installations globally, 31 countries, and most important part is that there are large corporate clients. Out of the top 5 global companies, trillion-dollar companies, 4 of them are our clients today. And the first one is almost 4.5 years old today. And the relationship is on. And many of them, all of them for that matter, have placed repeat orders. So the whole idea is there's so much of water in the air, and why can't we use and make a world a better place to live? So we use a very simple technology, condensation technology. The first patent of condensation technology was filed in 1910. Nothing new to the world. But unfortunately, somebody had to commercialize it. So all the while, the people were thinking that they will make water from air in a small 10 liter, 15 liter. What Maitri brought to the table was, we started making water at the scale. Because the problem of water is at scale, not at small machines. You need water and everything, and the world needs a lot of water. So that's exactly, and most important, we are 100% made in India, designed in India, not even a screw is imported, everything is in India. And we are the most efficient power efficient machine in the world, and all this data I'm telling you is in the public domain. You can compare anywhere. Maitri Aquatech machine is the most power efficient and yield efficient machine in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's obviously very, very exciting, right? Especially given what you said about being built in India for India. But you're not just even doing that, you're building in India for the world today, right? And you've put India on the global map, which a lot of companies today aspire to, a lot of startups aspire to. So it's fantastic that you've been able to achieve that. You know, one of the things you touched upon was you're extremely efficient, both in terms of power, but ultimately it ends up being in terms of cost. And how important is that cost factor? Because today, as a consumer, I don't really want to pay too much more. I don't have enough awareness, and I definitely do not want to pay 2, 3, 4 times what I would pay for regular water that I would get in Bangalore from my Kaveri bill. So how do you think about price, and how have you seen consumers' acceptance of it?
I think I would like to touch upon the price little later, because you have to understand the problem holistically and what exactly we are facing. Let me give you some data points also, which will give you the conviction of why this is important and why we should invest in this technology. India today have 18% of the world population and have only 4% of the water resource. We have 18% of the world population and only 4% of the water resource. And this is the data as on today. And it is, the gap is increasing. Population is increasing, so is the water levels are coming down. Number 2, in 1947, per capita water availability was more than 5,000 meter cube. Today it is less than 1,500. So we are celebrating 75th year of our independence. Unfortunately, the water level has come down by 75, and what we need water as a sustainable source, and there is no sustainable source. The RO that we so popularly use is one of the most water guzzler. 60%, 70% of the water is wasted. And do we have any other source? And all the Ghar Ghar Jal scheme, Jal Jeevan Mission schemes are made with an assumption that we are going to have a uniform rain and India is going to have water and there will be water in the null and ghar. But we do not know if one drought is enough to fast forward the problem, and what we are now talking about, deficit of 50% in 2030, can be as early as 27 or 26 if there is a drought. What is happening in Somalia, Australia, or elsewhere in the world? It has happened. So and El Nino effect can fast forward the whole thing. So it is important that we invest in alternative technologies, innovative technologies to make water available, and there's so much of water available in the country. That's what I told you, 13 billion meter cube is available, and there is a technology. While our technology is energy agnostic, the more and more solar energy we get it, we will be able to give the water less than 1 rupee per liter. If it's a question of prioritizing, see today more animals die out of stress than poaching. Children today, 85% of our diseases are waterborne. 50% of the hospital beds are all waterborne diseases, patients only. So time that we start investing in water, time that we prioritize, and whatever renewable energy we are talking about, portion of it should come to water generation. I'm sure these price points will become irrelevant when there is no water. We talk about all this because there is water available. I'm telling you, go to a place, and if there is no water for a day, then you don't mind spending whatever you want. So why do we want that stage to come when we introduce me? So why not we invest right now? And whatever we are talking, I think when the scale built, even all of us remember in solar in early part of, when it was introduced in Gujarat, it was almost 17 rupees per unit. Now it has come down because the investment and technology has happened, there's a development. So I'm sure whatever we are talking about price point, today we are talking about 1 rupee 50 paisa or 1 rupee 70 paisa, because we take 0.25 units kilowatt hour for making 1 liter of water when we use grid power. And we assume that if it is 6 rupees a unit, it is 1 rupee 50 paisa, because the apportioning cost of the machine is very less over a period of 15 years. So lesser the cost of the power, if the government starts subsidizing the power or government starts investing in solar and gives us the power, we should be able to give the whole at 75 paisa per liter.
I think that's a fantastic point, because just like you rightly said, whether it's solar or it's EV, there's a whole bunch of industries where we've seen the technology curve and the price curve come down. And at some point it intersects, and in fact it starts becoming more cost effective to go down those sources, besides the fact that when you run out of a resource, what is the price then? There isn't really a price. So we got to make these changes today so we don't reach those points as well. So very, very well taken points, sir. Completely appreciate what you're saying. Anand, sir, you were talking a little bit about, the Prime Minister and really pushing this agenda on treatment and wastewater treatment as well. Water ends up being a state and central subject at the end of the day. So how do you see regulations? Has it been helped you advance your business, or has it been an inhibitor to what you've been doing?
Frankly, we feel in the STP space, the government has been the biggest hurdle for us. On the one, all the laws, the rules are all well in place. Only the enforcement is lacking. Typically, you see the government subsidizes water, or in some places like Hyderabad, in some places it's free water. And on the backside, they allow you to pollute. When the STPs do not work, the mindset is not to set right the STP or make it functional, but just throw it out. And it is also allowed by the government fellows who are supposed to enforce the laws and rules. So on the front end, you get free water, subsidized water. At the back end, you are allowed to pollute. So there is absolutely no incentive for people to run an STP, which especially the builder has given, and they have inherited an STP which is dysfunctional. So why throw good money after bad? That is the mindset. But we have seen again and again and again that even if you take up a dysfunctional STP and you put in necessary money, maybe it is 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, 80 lakhs, even 1 crore, the payback, the return on investment is a matter of few months in terms of cost of fresh water. And the other thing you asked me, the earlier question, we can make potable water out of STP. In fact, in one of our complexes, in Whitefield, called TZ Homes, we have been generating potable quality water for more than 10 years, and people have been drinking it. So it is nothing new, and we do believe maybe 5 years, 10 years from now, that will be the only source of water for us for potable quality. Because the BWS, see, all this happened when the rule came in 2006 that individual house apartments must have STPs. I was totally against it. The question I was asking is, it is the government's job to supply water, to treat the sewage, and do whatever. And that's why they are collecting the taxes. But now more and more I'm beginning to think that it's a very far-sighted rule, because the government is still not able to supply the necessary quantity of water in the necessary quality. But then you have an STP in your own backyard, in your own basement, you can treat it, and you can recycle and use 60% of your water requirement for all secondary uses is met. We are operating and maintaining more than 90 odd plants in Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, Hyderabad. And we have seen across all our STPs, we are able to recycle 60% of the STP water. And that ensures your water security in the future. Dependence on third-party sources, the borewell, tanker fellows is not there. And when your STP is good, you are guaranteed good quality of water for all these secondary uses, mainly toilet flushing, for garden use, for car wash, vehicles wash, common areas wash. This we have seen. And if you have a good STP using the right technology, which is what I am advocating, let me give you some numbers. Bangalore itself has more than 3,800 of these STPs, the small scale decentralized STPs in residential, commercial complexes and so forth. 80 to 85% or more are dysfunctional to various degrees because of selection of wrong technology. Many of the consultants, the environment consultants, MEP consultants, architects do not understand STPs. I don't understand why a simple thing like sewage cannot be treated when we have done industrial ETPs for much more difficult wastewaters, like from a bulk drug industry, from a refinery, petrochemicals and so forth. Sewage is the easiest thing to treat, and sewage is sewage across the world. So it should be the simplest thing to treat. So that's been perplexing me. But then again, the mindset is compromise. So many times the builder asks me, what is the cost of your treatment plant? What is the footprint? So for a builder, the area and the availability is very, very critical, and that's why he puts it in the basement rather than out in the open. What is the footprint? What is the tank volume? What is the energy consumption? What is the chemical consumption? But the $1 million question he doesn't ask, will your STP work? So that is the question he should ask, not worry about all these things. And when your STP works, you have a total peace of mind for life. I have seen many residential apartments where the residents have to suffer through these STP for the rest of their life. They lose their sleep, they lose peace of mind, everything because of the STP. One particular case, it's still in my mind. 25 people from an apartment complex in Yelahanka just descended on my office and said, we are not able to use our toilets because if we do the flushing, the entire flat gets this odor, malodor, absolute. Just imagine what kind of a life they are going to live, fearing to use their toilet for the rest of their life. So that is what a good STP should do. And it all boils down to selecting the right technology, giving the right engineering, and then the operation and maintenance. There are 4 pillars of a good STP. Selecting the right technology, designing it as per the technology's requirements, using all the correct design criteria, then engineering it properly, and then operation and maintenance. All 4 key aspects have to be 100%. You cannot make up for a poor design by better operation and maintenance. Similarly, poor engineering, you cannot make up for it by better operation and maintenance. So all 4 have to be perfect. And that is what we are advocating, and that is what is lacking in most of these STPs. So believe me, and after this TZ got a huge publicity about a couple of months back. The MLA, the Principal Secretary Environment, about 50 of the government people descended on TZ homes, and it was widely reported. And many apartment complexes are now coming to us saying, we also want to go the drinking water, potable quality way. So I think it is opening up, people are beginning to understand the importance. But the first and foremost requirement is a good STP front end, then you can put the advanced treatment plant. And in terms of the costs, you need a good STP to meet your statutory requirements and other things. It only takes another 30 to 40 rupees per kiloliter to bring it to potable quality water. So you can imagine a large size STP, the treatment plant cost is about 20 rupees per kiloliter, the treatment cost. You add another 30 to 40 rupees to bring it to potable quality, then you are in business. Because tanker water is going to cost 100, 120 rupees, and the availability is in question. Not just the cost, but even the guaranteed availability. That's why I say STP is the only guaranteed perennial source of water for all your requirements. And in the future, it is also going to give you potable quality water for your drinking needs.
So if I summarize what you said, regulatory push has allowed for at least the builders to now go out and buy the STP, but certainly there is no real desire for quality, which is what you're advocating for. And Ramakrishna sir, on your side as well, have you seen regulation to be a hindrance? Have you seen it to be positive? Has it helped your business? And what can regulators do to help you actually spur this out? It is a new technology at the end of the day. New technology from a commercial scale perspective, not a new technology by itself.
See, I don't think world have the luxury of putting regulations around water. We don't have that much of water to put regulations. Where is the water available for us? First, there is no water. You will have to understand it from a larger context. That is, whatever we are talking, demand side management is happening, is not happening. It's only a supply side we are trying to do through water management. Whether it's unanswers, water, this thing, water treatment plant, or rain harvesting, or everything. But where are we managing the demand side? we are not educating the people. There is no behavioral change. There is no efficient consumption of the water. So we are let going all the things, and we are only trying to meet the entire requirement through supply side, and which may not last long because the water itself is not available. And when we move out of the, you asked a question regulation, but I'll ask you, when you move out of the house, is there any safe drinking water source available for you other than buying a water? 20 years back, 25 years back, when I was in college, and all of you, most of you were in college, we used to drink water in the railway station. We used to drink water in the ordinary nal. Today, can we afford to do that? Can we dare to drink a water in a railway station? So what has happened today? The quality of water has come down so much, and there is no safe drinking water. And whatever water we are buying in plastic bottles, again, two things. One is we are getting a lot of plastic into the environment. Second, there is something called polyfluoroalkyl substance, chemicals forever, and they are present. And companies like most of these companies, I don't want to name, there is the billions of dollars lawsuits in the world. PFS is there, and so hardly there is any safe drinking water. So, and I'm talking from a atmospheric water, this thing. This water doesn't touch the ground, so there is no first microbial contamination. So half of the problem is solved. Then the water that we draw from the air, we go through multiple filters like air filter where the suspended particles are taken out. Then there is a lot of carbon filters and all that, which will remove rest of the dissolved gases and all that. And finally we do dosing. So by dosing we add the required electrolytes and minerals which are otherwise not there in the air when we draw the water, and we make it potable. So it's 100% sustainable. And so what is happening? So I don't think government or anywhere in the world there is luxury of putting any regulations. It's more important they enable us more. They enable this technology through right investment. And of course, there can be some regulatory compliances based on some usage and all that, but I think the government should do more on the demand side management than on the supply side management. Most of things are happening from we have to educate the common man. No? Where is the sensitization process? Understand how many people understand what is the value of water. They think they still talk in terms of price of water, but the value of water is much more. Today's seminar should have been, instead of water for all, could have been easily named as life for all. Water is life. Where are we going to do? And this is a life for everybody. And we have to invest. And that is where we have to sensitize and make the people more aware of it.
Can we open up for the questions, please, for the audience, just in case?
Yes, absolutely. Why don't we do that?
Thank you. My name is Jagdish. I moved from Jayanagar 8th block to 4th block and realized there's a problem in Jayanagar 4th block. The one tanker per week we have ordered. Small independent house. So the STP piece that you mentioned, or other aspects, is there a way to make this whole business as a service rather than saying buy the unit? You pay for the service. Like if you have to do something on that, then you pay by hour or pay by liters kind of thing, so that it scales up. Versus when you say set up a unit, then you maintain it yourself. People don't know how to do that. So just thinking if there's a better way to solve this. Same thing for rainwater harvesting probably. In the sense, pay it as a service, so you could save, collect water kind of thing. Trying to help. I'm just trying to help. I have no idea. I'm very poor in this domain.
No, I think it's a fantastic question. Water as a service VAST model is available with us to not only to houses, but we are also giving it to large corporates because it's easy for them to book a revenue expenditure instead of a capex side. So it is already there, and some of the large global companies are already having that. And as you rightly said, there is no need to worry about the technology, there is no need to worry about the machine and the performance and everything, and everything is transferred, and you are only paying per liter, and you will pay as per your use. It's already available and we are doing, and it can be done. As far as our atmospheric water generators are concerned, regarding the STP, I think.
Yeah, STP also we have what I call the ecopex model. We put in the money for your treatment plant, whether it is brand new or whether it is surgery as I call it, on dysfunctional STPs. We will put down the money and collect it as an EMI over a period of 5 years or 7 years, where we'll operate and maintain it and give you the water. But unfortunately, we are not able to give it for residential complexes because there is no security, no surety. For corporates, yes, we can do that because there is some thing they can securitize that. But unfortunately, in residential complexes, we find one of the biggest hurdles is the management committee keeps changing every year, and not everybody has the same kind of outlook. Every management committee which changes just wants to get the maintenance cost down, irrespective of how it is going to affect the other services. So this is the problem we face, and this Ecopex model is fantastic because it gives total comfort for a builder. Pardon? I BWSSB, is it? Yeah. No, I have dealt with the BWSSB, and I have dealt with BWSSB and government agencies for years and years. In fact, it is all just show. They just talk. See, I wrote the STP guide at the request of the PCB, Pollution Control Board, in the year 2011. After that, they have asked me for so many reports and other things, technical reports. I have given them everything. All they have done is put it in the dustbin. 4 years ago, the NGT wanted every pollution control board to appoint one person as the subject matter expert in wastewater management and head the monitoring cell of the NGT. I was selected as the subject matter expert. I gave a white paper on how we should go about ensuring that pollution in Karnataka is gets under control, specifically in relation to the pollution of the lakes. If you see, for the last 12-15 years, we have just been talking about the lakes getting polluted. Nothing has improved in the last 15 years only because of this. It is all in paper. I have given the white paper on how to go about it, but again, it has not seen the light of day. So I have lost trust in the government agency. So we must help, the citizens must be helping others. That is the only way out. But otherwise, just not possible.
So I think to get to that net metering point of, essentially what you're doing with solar is not as simple in their case as it was there. But is there hope? Perhaps there is, and I think maybe that's a conversation to have for later. So one more question.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Krishna Kumar, and this is addressed to you, Ramakrishna. You mentioned something about how the air is full of so many billion cubic meters of water, and your equipment is specialized in condensing that and giving you fresh water. How does it work in different, across the country where, I don't know, is it humidity which determines the content of the amount of water in the air or whatever? How does it work, and how does the efficiency change in different across the country?
See, basically, condensation technology itself works on a dew point, which is a function of, condensation technology itself works on a dew point, which is a function of temperature and humidity. So the higher the dew point, easier for us because the delta is higher, so we get more water. But what happens is, you are right, it varies. Like when the low humidity, high temperature, like what we have in desert, the water yield will be less. When the low temperature, high humidity, again dew point comes down, again there will be water yield will be less. But generally our observation, our technology has been designed, that's what the Maitri success has come and how we become the world largest is. In the worst case scenario, it gives you around 40% of the rated output to 120% when like what in Chennai. We have large number of installations in Chennai. I think we have few hundreds. Most of them work more than 100% efficiency because the temperature and the humidity are perfectly aligned. Whereas in Rajasthan, where we have Jaipur, Jodhpur and all that, there we get 40. Even in, we have a lot of installations in Saudi Arabia, UAE and all that, where the efficiency levels are slightly lower. So that we have designed them. So there are multiple technologies. Condensation technology in isolation is generally meant for where the humidity, temperature and all that are reasonably good. Otherwise, you can also do a combination of desiccant and condensation technology, where we use some geolites like silica gel and all that, and we still make up for the night temperatures when the temperatures are low or when the humidity is low during the daytime, we make good for that. So there's a multiple technology, combination or single technology can be used.
Just the last question. Yeah, I'm from Bahrain. Yeah, sir. My name is Prakash Mohan. I'm based in Bahrain. So my question to you is this: in order to use your machines, what is the scale at which it has to be used? Can the households use your machine, or it has to be at the community level? And you said you have installed in Saudi and UAE. So I'm looking from that perspective because Bahrain has high.
Bahrain also we have a machine.
Excellent, excellent. So just if you can explain what is the scale at which it can be used. Thank you.
The smallest of the machine is around 25 liters per day. The largest machine that we have, single machine, is 5,000 liters per day. The larger than that cannot be taken in the container because of 20 feet container or 40 feet container. There is a height problem that comes in. We are giving to especially the Indonesia capital now, because Jakarta is getting shifted, a new capital is built and all that. We are in discussion with them, and we are talking about 1 million liters plants. But they'll all be put modular approach. Yeah. So and see what is the first criteria of water? I think this is very important question you asked, but let me take it. When we talk about the water, I think we are running out of the time. We have 2 minutes. Last question. Yeah, exactly.
So 1 minute.
It should be. It should be distributed. It should be dependable, predictable, and sustainable. So now the distributed nature of water is very important. So even 1 million liter may not be at a center, unlike in desalination plant and all. So I can put 10,000 liter plant multiple places and still make it distributed. That's how I do. Thank you very much. I think she's running out of time.
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I'm sure they'll be around if you have more questions.
I'm available. I think post meeting also.
Thank you.
I'm available to ask any other question.
Thank you so much. That's been a wonderful panel and really amazing questions. Thank you, Richa. Thank you, Mr. Ramba.